Hello and welcome to our round 5 map from our 8th Newcomers tournament. This time we have an electronics colony. I'm not sure we've seen that yet.
We haven't.
Okay. Electronics colonies can make for very fun games.
Yeah. So with glass half and an electronics colony, I will always look towards the glass factions first.
Scavenger does not seem to be an option. Well, you can maybe make it work on the low carbons by the ice, but I wouldn't want to, especially there's no aluminum nearby, no other resources. Won't be pretty.
Yeah, I think this is pretty tricky. Because you probably don't want to be making steel HQ1 if you're going for a steel faction, since it's always cheap. But I don't really see what you would do otherwise either.
Yeah, I'm not really sure where I'd go. Start things off immediately. No real good quick sources of money.
So what we can note is that there are no claims, no core samples, no nukes, so we don't really have to worry that much about the black market. We can just try to think of a plan to get HQ2 and see, does this fund enable us to do that?
No claims in the market always makes a bit of a stronger case for expansive. It means that your bonus claims really shine through much more.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the right start, but I can basically get to HQ2, so it's fine.
Seems like a good start.
Yeah, so what Boost Fund has, he has access to every resource except silicon, very close by. It doesn't look like he has access to water, but that's ice right above him, so we can use the solar condensers. What would you do on HQ2 though? That's my question, but I don't really...
Probably a pair of steel at least.
Yeah.
Then I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think I'd I think I probably want to get into a pair of condensers, but that's also just difficult. I think I'm mostly hoping that the carbon money carries me through.
Absolutely. When glass is cheap, you can often get away with making a lot of upgrade resources and just selling them down a bit to afford the cheap glass and then upgrading really quickly. So maybe 2 aluminum mines?
Yeah, that seems reasonable. Although that does kind of preclude any sort of water-based play. Although, yeah, there's probably not room to make that work anyway. I don't know what else you do. Silicon? That seems silly.
Where would you found trade?
I might take the bad scavenger northwest.
Even over the whatever you would put next to that iron patch near the common?
I mean, realistically I would go elite near the colony, but last time I suggested that, it wasn't appreciated.
I really like these aluminum tiles. They're perfect wind tiles.
Yeah.
Kind of want to make use of them somehow, but probably a bad idea.
Definitely the big advantage to the bad scavenger is that you have really strong access. Well, not really strong access, but you have good access to carbon, which is going to be difficult for most players on this map. There is this one medium still all the way to the east. I already took the high.
Yeah, the high.
Yeah.
And you definitely want carbon for the electronics later.
The reason is that I can upgrade quickly. I grab 2 low aluminums and like 4 carbon cores, and because of the cheap glass I can get a lot of claims. The issue is I can't really use them super well, but maybe some ice and some life support.
You mean the low aluminum's way down to the south?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, I would definitely take the high. Never mind.
Yeah, that's one thing I was worried about with the scavenger found. It's gonna be slow with the aluminum. But I guess that's fine when carbon starts double. A lot of ways to cash in on that quickly first. HQ3 might be a bit slower though.
We've been kind of ignoring nomads, which I think are actually a good found, but my issue with them is the electronics colony. So electronics will keep rising, and there's not a lot you can do to sell down to afford to pay it. However, you can actually make electronics. So that might be a thing. Go nomad and build electronics factories.
Not the start, definitely. I mean,
No,
maybe,
like HQ2,
maybe
3.
I don't even think HQ2. It'd probably be 3 at the earliest.
Okay, would you found as a nomad in the water patch or?
Yeah, I think
next
water
to the
silicon.
high-
Yeah, water.
Water silicon area, and then north of the silicon, so I'm between the aluminum and the carbon.
Okay. Yeah.
Not
If
sure.
Blues hadn't taken that carbon, I wouldn't mind finding there. The
Yeah,
high
that would
carbon
be a nice thing.
also has aluminum.
Aluminum, ice, carbon.
Oh.
Although you probably get the water from the actual water still. Where else can you go on this one?
I think we would on HQ3 be interested in making electronics in a lot of these founds, but it's not very easy to make it work.
Yeah, it definitely depends a bit on what everything is doing by HQ3. It's possible that by HQ3 electronics are still hovering a little below 200, in which case it's still not going to be very profitable or interesting to go into them. And it's just difficult.
Yeah.
Which is also a reason why I would be not super psyched about the 4th found of like a robot to the west of where I am with this high iron ice electronics.
Yeah. You would you would need more income than the electronics price is the main issue. But that what you can ask, why don't you just make oxygen? But unfortunately, oxygen is really hard to produce any good quantities of. So
Right, if
it's
there are
not gonna be
dry
a
ice.
great income.
If there were dry ice
Yeah,
on
unless
this
there's
map,
dry
this
ice,
would
but-
be beautiful.
Yeah,
But not so much.
this particular map only has the normal ice.
The water ice.
Water ice? Yeah, okay.
But yeah, probably better than the weird robot is the expansive Pollina was talking about earlier, just near the colony. Probably expansive. Or elite if you're really adventurous.
It would just feel so bad to put down 1 iron mine and 2 steel though. Or like, yeah, I guess 1-1-1. 1 aluminum mine, 1 iron mine, 1 steel.
Yeah,
Probably.
might honestly be tempted to go double aluminum and carbon. But probably not a good idea.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, power starting half means that's not really going to work out at all. There's just no natural HQ2 market, and that makes...
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's the issue. There's no natural progression here. And that is why we found like this. Wait, I can't find. There. HQ2, very nearby Pleasure Dome, guaranteed money, chems is low, you can get any patent you need to access whatever markets you need. You should always pick elite every single time.
As long as you can make it work. But yeah, I guess especially with Machine Shop Colony, elite feels really nice. So many optimizations.
Yeah. Although, yeah, it's hard to tell how this map would play out late game. I guess some carbon markets might become expensive.
Yeah, everyone will ignore electronics until HQ5, then you have your fully upgraded electronics sitting on 500 at $300. You hack a few times, and then you win.
Maybe.
Probably everyone else goes off-world in the meantime and clobbers you. But you tried to make your play work, and that's what matters. Off-world is probably be decent this game. Although it is another oxygen-heavy game. Fuel probably ends up being a decent backup launch though, so it's not the biggest deal. I'm not even sure what order I'd be looking at these founds in.
Yeah. I do like yours actually.
I like it, but I'm not sure I like it enough to take it first. For any
The
amount
issue
of
is
debt.
I might want a slightly more iron than you have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, basically there's no obvious player. You can probably make anything work by adapting to the mid game. It's less of a found-centric game.
Black market also probably not going to be all that impactful. I mean, EMP's mutinies are great, but there's a lot of not super powerful stuff on there. I doubt you're really even going to want to be using mules early. There's nothing that jumps out as a muleable
Price is
thing.
a bit too low.
Mm-hmm.
Although maybe for some carbon if you don't want to claim it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's jerky, but
Yeah,
hopefully we show some insight into what you should pay attention to.
hopefully.
We're not very decisive.
Are
Alright.
there any scientific founds here? Like
Pirates.
near the ice and iron next to where you found it was?
I don't see a way you could fit in the scientist. Well, I guess with the 2 tiles of ice, maybe. Just to my east, but that doesn't feel good.
They're in the ice, it's right. Top of yeah, it's not
I
great.
guess you could also ship in this steel, but I never liked that. I never really know how much of me not liking stuff is just me not liking stuff, and how much is it is stuff not being good. I'm open to any interpretation. Even fitting in a scientist to my east is kind of tricky. Like, there's no way to immediately get access to the ice to...
If I had to find scientists, I would probably do it on the ice there and go reactors.
Yeah.
I guess that could work. Low steel to start.
Yeah, I expect steel to stay pretty low too. Because people will need to sell it to buy their glass.
Although they won't need to sell very much to buy their glass.
Yeah.
But there should be some steel-based factions on the map at least.
Yeah, that might work. Reactor's a little more expensive because they cost carbon, but I mean it's 10 carbon, who cares? I don't know what you do on HQ2 as a scientist, probably ship in steel. I don't know. There's no
Yeah.
good... That's the same problem for every faction. There's no good HQ2.
Still, unless there's a lot of steel production going on. Like, food will become expensive eventually. So if you start stockpiling, you might have something to go on.
Yeah, I guess normal price food isn't all that bad a market anyway.
Yeah. It just takes a while to kick in and become really good.
Also, if you found on the ice, you have the cliffs right next to you.
Although, I mean, I guess that depends in part on if you actually end up having access to carbon. If you don't, then I'm not sure you ever want to build wind.
Yeah, of course.
Well, maybe someone sells it down for you nicely
But
because there's no
assuming
money.
that high carbon target doesn't get claimed immediately.
You can always mutiny.
True.
Or mutinate. Yeah.
Or I guess you could also mule this low carbon if you're really desperate for carbon.
Yeah, and if you have like an hour to spare for it to return. Like, yeah, muling when you need the resources is 5 minutes too late, unfortunately.
I mean, muling for carbon, I think, for wind is somewhat fine as long as you... Point is, you'll be spiking carbon, you can pay some of that back later as long as there's no, like, scavenger or something.
Yeah, that's true, you can borrow a bit.
You just need to have the money to afford the turbines in the first place. Which might be difficult, but might not be. Reactors are okay. I don't know.
Not today. Would founding scientific next to the carbon ice work?
That would be interesting.
Very interesting.
I guess the iron's not too terribly far away.
It's aluminum that bothers me, but
Yeah, right.
I mean, I did say I want to scav there too, so I can make it work, I suppose.
Yeah, no need
think-
for just.
I'm not sure what I would do HQ1. What would you do? Because
Well,
the carbon
reactors.
isn't on the ice.
I mean, I don't think you need to claim that carbon early. I don't think anyone's going to fight you for that.
Yeah, but then why did you found there?
So you have access to it eventually for the electronics? I don't know.
Is it possible to fit near the iron instead?
No, not without crushing way too much.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't look possible. Yeah. I mean, it could work for sure.
And then you can branch into your superconductor borehole play. Alright, I think that's enough to said about this one.
Yeah.
That was a bit too much.
Alright, hopefully these have all been helpful to some extent. Thank you all for watching, and thanks for participating if you did join into the Newcomers tournament. And if not, there should be another one in some amount of time.